Welcome to the Public Opinion Court, where the truth ain't reality, but opinions are. Happy Sunday. I hope you all are having a blessed and great Sunday afternoon. Today, we are going over the Kyron Lacy recent developments where evidence was finally released to the public by his lawyer. And it was everything that I expected, anticipated from the moment that I reached out, or his trainer reached out to me. I said, yeah, this ain't good. I can sense some injustice going on. So because I love having the ability to break these things down for you all, we're going to go over the Kyron Lacy developments. We're going to go over the law. We're going to talk about the possibility of what this officer and this witness is possibly looking at legally. Also talk about how this could have been prevented. And I have a bombshell that just jumped in my DMs. It's a statement from his lawyer. It's coming from me because I call out injustice. And what Matthew doesn't know about me, or Matt, however you want to pronounce your name, is I no longer shut up and prosecute. I bring it to the forefront. Because if somebody don't do it, we'll continue to have more Kyron Lacy's that feel like their life, as they knew it, is over at the hands of district attorney's offices that take their fucking time. So you don't have to like what I said. Actually, I didn't say anything. You didn't like a nonverbal post, so you came for me. And what you didn't understand is that you came for my name that's protected. And you used it on no news stations. You sent it to them when you could have edited me. You could have came into the same DMs from the post that you were looking at. But you didn't. See, I didn't have any smoke for you. I still don't have any smoke for you. But I am going to address you appropriately, just the way that you disrespected me and my brand. But we're going to get into it. I hope that you're tuned in. Because unlike you, I do believe that I've spoken nothing but highly of you. But it's something about a Black woman. When we speak, we shake the table. And that's not my problem. But let's get into it. So as many of you know, Kyron Lacy was a talented football star at LSU. And he had his eyes set on the combine. He was actually still training for the combine until the combine disinvited him because of this situation. I got to see a slight struggle that he dealt with mental health, but he was fighting each and every day from what I could see in a lot of the people that loved him. And the one thing that I tell individuals as a former prosecutor, the justice system is meant to take this first. And if they can take it, they've won. So I'm here to talk about the individuals who are responsible for Kyron Lacy feeling hopeless, feeling like he lost everything, was in despair when he did nothing wrong. So, as many of you know, the identity of this individual, was released. This is Tyler the officer who is responsible for the false statements, the false investigation, and according to Kyron's lawyer, forged statements, just a rush to judgment, targeting. He's 24. He's still a police officer. He hasn't lost his job. So when Matthew came for me saying that what I non-verbally stated was offensive, you know what's offensive? The fact that he's still patrolling and gloating over arresting individuals right now when he should be off the streets. So Tyler is responsible for the report, generating report, the lack of investigation, and the targeting of Kyron that ultimately led to an unwarranted warrant and arrest that went national, went worldwide, that caused deep depression for Kyron. It tarnished his name. He lost stock. He lost value in the sport that he loved. And he got the nerve to tell me that, okay. And here we have the Louisiana State Troopers, the whitest of the white. And let me tell you something about Louisiana. Louisiana is still under the Civil Code, the Napoleonic Code. It is the worst for justice. If you want to be discriminated against, go to Louisiana. If you want to get the book thrown at you as a colored person, go to Louisiana. If you want to be wrongfully convicted, targeted, arrested, all of the above, go to Louisiana. Because they don't have anyone that look like us. So therefore, they don't give up about us. So South Louisiana has a worse reputation than North. I went to school in Baton Rouge. I saw it. Any athlete that really that's talented, that goes to LSU, and if you just so happen to find yourself in a situation, you are alone. You are all alone. And it seems to me that they have a hard-on for athletes that are Black. So it doesn't surprise me that Kyron was targeted. Look at the makeup of this law enforcement agency. They protect their own. You know how rednecks do. So I'm going to read the portion that was tampered with. He said he had to slam on his brakes and veer to the right off the road in order to avoid the charger. He said the vehicle behind him, vehicle 2, we're going to find out who vehicle 2 is, then struck another vehicle, vehicle 3, in the southbound lane. He said he then exited his vehicle to check on the other drivers. He said after checking on the drivers, he left the scene of the crash. I obtained the witness statement from him on December 22nd at his residence in Louisiana. So this is the individual who was in the gold truck that the officer went to his home, that you're going to see on body cam if you have not seen already. This is the individual that stated that Kyron wasn't the person that was responsible, that the actual female, the one that lied. And I kind of think that they may have colluded. I don't know, allegedly. But this man's statement ended up being different than what he said on camera, because if you know, like I know, why they didn't get a handwriting expert to dispel who actually wrote that letter. But they did such a phenomenal job that Matthew stated they were superb. Here is proof of the actual accident. One vehicle is of the unaliving of the victim. The other vehicle is for the female, the distracted driver, the cause of the accident, the one who lied. And I introduced to you the cause of the accident. And let me just say that she was ticketed. She was cited. How did she get a citation that did not lead to criminal charges? How did she get a citation and not criminal charges? It's because soon as that officer realized that he had a big fish like Kyron and he is so meticulous on letting the world know about his arrest record, he said, I got one. Oh, I got one. This is going to be the biggest one of my career. And this heifer played right into it because she was too scared to deal with the consequences of her own actions. Now let's talk about her actual statement. Upon reviewing body cam video of the trooper from the scene, the following statement was made. I just know trucks was stomping on brakes. The other cars was trying to pass the other car. I was trying to dodge by not hitting him, by coming around. When the trooper asked how fast she was going, she replied, the speed limit. That is a lie. That is a lie. She was not. Based on the video of his lawyer that went over the data from the vehicles. Y'all do know that you get in an accident, there's a black box that is connected to your vehicle that they can detect who was at fault, what you were doing prior to, before, during, after, all of that. It's a tracker of data in these sophisticated cars. So she lied, but she didn't know it was going to come back to hunt her. And unfortunately, it caused the untimely passing of Kyron. I was trying to dodge by not hitting him by coming around. When the trooper asked how fast she was going, she replied the speed limit. Next, I reviewed the recorded interview as written from while she was in the hospital on January 3rd. Below is a synopsis of the interview. All I can see is that a car is coming this way in front of me. Right before the crash occurs, I'm looking at a pickup truck in front of me. That's all I see for the moment. I'm eating my Funyuns. I got them in the middle of my lap driving. I'm listening to my music. All of a sudden, I see a car get into another person's lane. The truck steps on his brakes first, so I slow down. Lie. But then he does it again. This time, it's really hard. A bigger lie. That's when you can see on the side, the car is trying to get back over. Lie. But before he can get over, the truck stops in the middle, like on the brakes hard. Lie. There's another car that runs damn near into the pole. Lie. It's either I run into him or try to get out the way. Lie. So I'm trying to get into the dollar store parking lot. Lie. Then the other car just comes and slams into me. Lie. The trooper asked, whenever you are looking forward and the car is in front of you, you swerve. They swerve off to the right before you make your left after you looking. Are you looking at the green Charger coming at you? He planted that statement. He intentionally mentions the green Charger. She never says anything about a green Charger. He does that. She responds, the green Charger came and then the car came behind me. Behind them, the truck, van, whatever. That's not a good response. That's not a response that a seasoned law enforcement officer would have accepted without going further. You see, this is my problem with this particular statement, is the fact that they thought this was complete. For the life of me, I don't know why. Because she never mentions a green Charger, but you planted there. And when we're talking about January 3rd, they had already put out a suspicion that he was involved and may have been responsible. So she had time to come up with a story that fit their narrative for him. He didn't ask anything else after that. So during the interview with the trooper, made several statements that do not match the submitted report or written statement. Oh, it don't. This is, I believe, the response of the DA from their investigation. Instead of questioning for more details, the trooper attempted to recap what she was saying, which seems to contradict her statements. While doing this, the trooper is the first to talk about swerving off to the right. Then when it came to obtaining the written statement, the trooper tells what the document on the statement is saying she's writing. Now listen, here's the statement from the gold car. The forged statement. This is not what he said on camera. And why would he refuse to sign it? That man was so, he was very responsive. He did not appear that he was not cooperative. Where his signature? Oh, you wrote it. Okay. Highway 20 green Charger coming head on, passing multiple cars, coming head on. I had to slam on my brakes to avoid accident. I'm going to read that portion because when we watch the video, the man says nothing to that effect. He says the total opposite. I was going, I think it was like 28 miles an hour. I didn't even have to swerve. There are no skid marks. Liar, liar, pants on fire. So let's move. Oh, hold on. Let's move to the video. Let's watch the video footage.
I've got every piece of evidence I have viewed. I've examined every piece of evidence, which includes all surveillance, all body cam footage, and most importantly, the investigative report that was generated and manufactured. We're going to compare and contrast those findings with the findings of state police, because there's a ton of confusion. People seem to believe that somehow he hit someone in this accident, or possibly through two cars and there was this explosion behind him. I've heard every version possible. But we can show you the version right now. Okay. So what you'll see is in the top left of the screen, you're going to see multiple cars just making their way south to Thibodaux, coming from Vacherie. At some point in time, you're going to see the collision, which we're going to know is vehicle number 2 from oncoming traffic colliding with the vehicle of Mr. Hall. You will see another vehicle come to a stop. You will see another vehicle come to a stop, and then you'll see Kyron Lacy come to a stop.
So as we've seen the video, it looks like the impact happens, and then Kyron Lacy is behind him. How far away was he from there?
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of the investigative report that I now have my hands on. We know from data that Kyron Lacy did, in fact, pass 4 cars. There's no disputing that. Further north, Kyron Lacy passed 4 cars. However, he was back in his lane of travel, 92.3 yards. At the time of impact, he's 72.6 yards behind the vehicles at the time of impact. Keyword, behind the vehicles. That is not how this story was ever painted. Sure, he was back in his proper lane according to their data. This isn't my expert. This is the investigation of the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's Office. So I'm here simply comparing and contrasting the District Attorney's Office with state police in this matter, their investigations. And in that investigation, it shows that he was back in his correct lane of travel, 92.3 yards. before this incident occurred, he was back in his lane. What we know now is he was 3 times legally what he needed to be back in his lane of traffic. What you see here is vehicle 3. That is Mr. Hall's vehicle. This is another vehicle between Mr. Lacy and Mr. Hall.
Okay.
This is the gold truck that's referenced in the report. This is heading north. So this is the lead vehicle heading north. And the vehicle that actually collided with Mr. Hall's vehicle, that would be vehicle 2. All right. So through the course of this now, we start investigating and dissecting everything we possibly can. Mm-hmm. When we do that, we start with vehicle 2, right? So what do I know now about vehicle 2? Vehicle 2 was tailgating, all right? According to the data, again, of the district attorney's office, not me, according to their data, tailgating at 49.6 miles an hour, 0.5 seconds behind the gold truck, 1.5 seconds before the crash. So again, if that did make sense, she is following 0.5 seconds behind this vehicle, 0.5 seconds behind that vehicle, 1.5 seconds before the crash at over 49 miles an hour. 0.5. That's what happens when you tailgate. Now, interestingly enough, this vehicle was actually, when this woman was in the ambulance, they issued her a ticket. All right. You know for what? Take a wild guess. Following too close. They even told her it's in your personal belongings. Fast forward. Another trooper comes and is looking for that particular ticket. And that ticket, they told her, something may happen to the ticket, don't worry about it. Sure enough, something happened to that ticket down the road, right? The ticket now needs to fit a better narrative. And that ticket now says, crossing left of center. Why? Why? The black box is telling me. The data from the district attorney's office tells me you're traveling 0.5 seconds at 49.6 miles an hour, 1.5 seconds before the accident. That's not tailgating? Now, what we're looking at, this isn't speculation. Through this, we hear there's story after story. Actually, vehicle 2's story got bigger and bigger and bigger until we now have their data, right? So when we get our hands on it, I'm looking at the data from that particular vehicle. That data in that vehicle shows me 5 seconds previous to this crash. 5. I'm looking at it, and you're going to show it. 5 seconds previous to this crash, she maintained a speed of 49.6 miles an hour, never activating the EBS system until 0.5 seconds before the crash. Why is that important? Because if your story, which we'll get into, keeps getting bigger and bigger, and you had all this time to see the gold truck, in her words, stomp on their brakes, slam on their brakes, come to a stop, veer off the road. I see another vehicle approaching. I see the Charger approaching. Well, my question to you now becomes, how did you see that vehicle approaching, or him stop, or him slam on his brakes, yet your data says you never touched your brake prior to 0.5 seconds before that crash? I'm looking right now. So are you at the last 5 seconds, according to her. Her car's black box, not mine, not my expert. That's her car. So if you're going to tell me a 5 to 10 second elaborate story, it needs to make sense. And when you have the data, not only doesn't it add up, it's not possible. Notice on there, Martin, it says 75 degrees, right? You turn 75 degrees to the left all of a sudden.
Scale of 100, that's a pretty hard turn to the left.
It's a very hard turn to the left. The gold truck, the lead vehicle in oncoming traffic, who, by the way, is probably one of the 2 most important witnesses in this entire case. We know now that 2.99 seconds prior to him pulling off the road, he was traveling 28 miles an hour. 28 miles an hour. Now, you're going to hear his statement in a little while, and it's going to all make sense. But let's be very clear right now for the intent and purposes of what we're doing. There are 2 vehicles that we're talking about right now that are traveling north. The second vehicle in oncoming traffic, which is vehicle 2, their data says she is tailgating. She is 0.5 seconds at 49.6 miles an hour. 1.5 seconds before the crash.
Did she give any police report or anything?
Oh, absolutely. So
let's talk about that a little
bit. We will. This particular individual, and for purposes of this report, I'd like you, Martin, this is page 9, if you could follow along to make sure I'm not misquoting a single thing.
All right.
All right. I'm looking at the investigative report of the district attorney's office. And then here you can see this is their investigator looking at vehicle 2's statements, and now he's analyzing. He says, upon reviewing the body cam video of the trooper from the scene, the following statement was made. I just know the truck was stomping on brakes. The other was trying to pass the other car. I was trying to dodge. When the trooper asked how fast she was going, she replied the speed limit. He next says, I reviewed the recorded interview and the written statement from Vehicle 2 while she was in the hospital on January 3rd, 2025. Below is a synopsis of that interview. And the very first, it says, all I can see is that a car is coming this way and the car in front of me. Right before the crash. I'm looking at the pickup truck in front of me. That's all they see for the moment. I'm eating my Funyuns. I got in the middle of my lap and I'm driving. I'm listening to my music. All of a sudden, I see the car get in the other person's lane. But before you can get over, the truck stops in the middle, like on the brakes hard. There's another car that runs damn near into the pole. It's either I run into him or I try to get out the way. So I'm trying to get to the dollar store parking lot. Then the other car just comes and slams into me. The trooper asked Vehicle 2, whenever you're looking forward or the car's in front of you, they swerve off to the right before you make your left, or you're looking at a green Charger coming at you. Or, end of quotes. Vehicle 2 responded with, the green Charger came, and then the car behind me, behind them, the truck, the van, whatever. The trooper does not ask any further follow-up questions to get a better understanding of what she was saying for this answer. Now remember, I'm reading what the investigator's saying. Mm-hmm. When Vehicle 2 states the truck stops in the middle of the road like on the brakes hard, this statement indicates that the gold truck stopped in the middle of the lane and not, in quotes, swerving off to the right. This would also show that Vehicle 2 would have steered to the left to avoid contact with the gold truck and not Kyron Lacy. While doing this, the trooper is the first to talk about the gold truck swerving off to the right. Then when it came to obtaining the written statement, the trooper tells Vehicle 2 what to document on the statement as she is writing.
On the gold truck.
2.99 seconds before the gold truck eases off to the road. Yeah. Eases off of the road.
Right.
He's traveling at 28 miles an hour.
Right.
That all is in this report.
Yeah, that's my question.
You watch someone slam on their brakes. You watch them stop. You watched a car charge coming at you in your lane of traffic, but you never thought to just tap the brakes? Really? Data is accurate. The black box is accurate. That says that you never touched your brakes. You never touch your brakes in the last 5 seconds until 0.5 seconds before the impact. That's their data. It's not mine. And this is where it really starts tying together, right? The gold truck, they end up getting a statement from this individual. There's two of them.
So, look, don't worry about filling any of this top information, like your name, address. Don't worry about any of that. Just right here, if you could, I'll just have you write exactly what you saw. Just make sure to include, where you were.
I don't even know what the name of that highway.
It's Highway 20. Highway 20. That you just.
All right, maybe my wife gonna put that right.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes, and the brakes, you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that Charger, and the brakes locked up to avoid that Charger. That's.
I ain't scared my car. That's what I wasn't even going for. That lady in the back of me, she didn't know what was happening. That's how she called that record. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side. And I didn't.
So, but the Charger was coming right at you, correct? And that's why you had to slam on your brake, head on with you. So yeah, just make sure you include that, and that's very important because we're trying to locate this Charger right now. So just include that in the statement, and I'll read it over, and then I'll be out of here.
In that video, you can clearly hear the suggestive nature indicating that I need you to say that you had to slam on your brakes and you had to avoid a Charger.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes, and the brakes, you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that Charger, and the brakes locked up to avoid that Charger. That's.
But then you hear Gold Truck, the witness who's the Gold Truck, what he says. And he says verbatim.
I ain't scared my car. That's what I wasn't even going for. That lady in the back of me, she didn't know what was happening. That's how she called that record. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side. And
I didn't skid marked or nothing because I wasn't even going that fast. That lady in the back of me, she didn't see what's happening. That's how she caused that wreck. She was going to run into the back of me, and she pulled into the other side. There was another passenger in Kyron Lacy's car. They knew this. They have video footage of this individual getting out of the car. Why didn't you ascertain his identity? Why would you not want to hear the person with one of the best views of this incident? Why would you make a call? Why would you simply not bring him in for questioning?
And I'm sure you talked to him after?
Of course, I talked to him after. That's exactly what they said. Yeah. It's exactly what they said. Mm-hmm. They actually thought at one point in time that she collided with the gold truck. That's the very first thing they told me, that they thought that this vehicle, Vehicle 2, was trying to get around the two, as in slide between them, as in, uh-oh. So you can see why. This is just amazing now, what I know, and there's so much more. But there was a defining point for me in this whole situation that I knew he wasn't joking. And he referenced things in football fields. And I know it's easy to look back and say, oh, I bet he never said that. He's deceased now. BS. I'm telling you now what he told me. He said I was a football field. A football field is how he compared things, right? So he's saying when he got back in his lane of traffic, I know I was a football or even a little over a football field over by the time I'm back in my lane. And when I told him that they had video surveillance of this whole thing, it was like he was relieved for a second. Because I think in his mind, he thought that, which most did, most people that I talk to think that he actually hit the vehicle or he barely got past him and then they collided. That was the narrative that I heard the most. Mm-hmm. So in his mind, at least he's looking at this going, okay, somebody can show I was actually watched this accident. I saw it.
When you're talking to Kyron Lacy and he's saying, Matt, I wasn't involved in this. What was his mindset like at the time?
It's horrible. Look, man, you got a young kid that's getting assassinated on public media, social media. He begged me to help him. I was already helping, but it was a consistent deal, obviously, meaning far after representation, begging me to help him. And you move as fast as you can with what you have, right?
He was begging me. He was desperate. He was desperate for someone to believe him. He was desperate because everything that he had worked for was gone like that. And to see Black media feed into this false narrative. Let me just put some context into how fast things actually move in situations like this. Because it's a homicide, it's a little different, but make no mistake, like I said, there should never have been an arrest of anyone with the type of report that was turned in. That report, do y'all see that statement? Does that look like enough to proceed with charges pending? There should have never been a rush to judgment because of how technical this type of case is. Whenever there's an accident that results in a homicide, you have to wait until that black box come back to dictate if you don't have visual. And it was very minimal visual. So when I say the DA's office has a responsibility, they do. And they had every opportunity and ability to not issue a warrant on anyone or allow that warrant to go through the police office. And they didn't. They had an opportunity to say, hold on, wait, let's come back. Let's go talk to the family of the individual that was unalived. Let us explain to them why we have to take it this way. Let me tell you why. Because this case is so tainted now, it is going to be hard to put anybody before a jury related to this matter alone. So will he get justice? No, I doubt that he gets justice at this moment. I'm talking about the victim who was unalived, that was in that vehicle. I doubt that he gets the justice that he demanded or should have received, because these agencies are intertwined together. As a former prosecutor, I had power. I had power to sign or not sign. I had power to make decisions for the betterment or not. We had power. They have power. They have no excuse. So this incident happened December 17th. We have January 17th, March 17th, January, February, March. That's 3 months right there. Then we get to April, where they're set for grand jury. For what I don't know, it should have never been set for grand jury, but they do these things when there's a body attached to it. For the life of me, why did they not investigate everyone to do a process of better elimination? Why has it taken this long for this information to come out? Why aren't they still investigating anyone? Why is that girl still not done? Why is this officer still rolling around the streets, arresting people that may be innocent? That's the question that we all have, because now we're in October and nothing has happened. Nothing was going to happen. If his lawyer never came out and said anything, it would have been a thing of the past. Yeah. So why did the DA's office put out a statement? You want to know who put out a statement? Let's go to who put out a statement. Where is that statement? Because it's very disgusting what these people put out. Very disgusting. And this is one of the reasons why I'm so glad that I am no longer in that system, because I get to have a voice. So let me read it for you, because I don't have it in my computer. But the troopers released a statement. They said the Louisiana State Patrol, the Louisiana State Police conducted a detailed investigation with the assistance of crash reconstruction experts and with all available information at the time. Investigative findings revealed that Mr. Lacy was reckless driving while approaching oncoming traffic, led to the event of the crash. The finding was presented to the 17th Judicial District Court, which approved an arrest warrant based on the evidence based on the falsified evidence collected. And you have the fucking audacity to come out and put a statement out like that? That's why I tell y'all, I don't care who has a problem with it. I will always speak up. There is not a white man, even in the pits of hell, that can silence me when I've been in the trenches, when I've seen the injustice, when I have had to save us from white prosecutors. To have the audacity to tell me, as if you know my experience and the trauma that I endured, having to witness the reality of what goes on in the judicial system and trying to save as many people as possible. So this is why I'm passionate about Kyron. This is why when his lawyer made this post. And this was basically letting the world know that he was innocent and he did not cause the accident. Things that we didn't know, because the way that they put those stories out, the way that PR was running like roaches to tear this young man down. You see, they're not running as fast as they can to clear his name. They could have cleared his name a long time ago. So in this, I posted in my story, because I was going to do a breakdown of this. I said, I never got to report on this. If this is true and he wasn't involved in that pileup, shame on the police and the DA. And I stand fucking 10 toes down with what I said. I stand 10 toes down, and I'll say it again. It's on here, but I proceeded to have a conversation with someone that was connected to him. And they reached out to me right after the post. And they said, hold on, let me stop this. They said he's out here training because he was getting ready for the combine. This was on February 7th. They definitely tried to blame him. I said, they gonna pay. And I'm talking defamation, abuse of power. I said, if this affects his draft stock, he needs to sue for nothing less than $100 million. I also said, he needs to be preparing a civil claim in the meantime so that as soon as it's dismissed, hit their ass with civil. And I said, you will be surprised. They are only focused on criminal. Trust me. This was me telling his trainer, like, hey, this is urgent. Please pass this message along. And his agent was supposedly handling this. But let me tell you something about athletes. If you are an athlete here, your agent is not everything that you need. Kyron needed a crisis management team to silence the noise, to put the right narrative, to put the right story out. Because as lawyers, even though I do crisis management now that I'm no longer tied to the hellhole that I was in at one point, I've taken my skills and I've become a crisis management business. So he needed an additional voice because lawyers, we are not equipped with that side. And it's a lot that don't know how to communicate with the public. He was drowning because he did not have the right team also. And his lawyer did everything that he could, but this is not his lane. And we as lawyers got to remind ourselves, every lane is not for us. So stop trying to be every lane and make sure when you have high profile cases that you have the right people connected. So now let's go to the most exciting part for me. Hold on, what kind of charges can be brought against the officer? This is the funnest part of this all, to talk about what kind of crimes he needs to be charged with. Because of the false records, we have injuring public records, which is the Louisiana statute. When you alter, falsify an official report or a statement. Malfeasance is the most known of in office, knowingly performing duties in an unlawful manner or failing to perform legal duties. That's obvious. Obstruction of justice, knowingly creating false evidence or influencing testimony in connection with criminal investigation. Well, whoop-de-doo. False swearing, filing false public records, submitting false statements in an official document. Whoop-de-doo again. Intimidation of witness. Telling a witness what to say or mean to shape the case outcome. No shit. Official oppression, abuse of authority to deprive someone of their constitutional protections. Now, that's just the state crimes. I said, let me go to the federal side because he needs to see the full extent of the motherfucking law. So federal law says deprivation of rights under the color of the law. Using police authority to violate someone's due process rights through fabricated evidence. Conspiracy against rights. If more than one actor participated in shaping a false narrative. Oh, I heard that there was more than one. False statements in official matters. Making or submitting materially false statements in a report that affects prosecution. I don't miss. I'm a clock it every motherfucking time when it comes to my people. Public corruption. If lies were tied to misconduct, favors, or personal gain. Civil liability. Exposure to lawsuits for wrongful arrest, malicious prosecution, or fabricated evidence. Tyler, you fucked around and found out. And thank God you did, because how many more black and brown would have been subjected to your fuckery? You took that oath to protect and serve. Instead, you set up, locked up, and took away the fucking key. Shame on you. Shame on you. You deserve every ounce of smoke that's coming your way, because you had the fucking audacity to use your badge to harm someone. Y'all, when I became a prosecutor, it was because I knew that I had a seat at the table to protect people that look like me. And I've had to do it. I've had to protect Black people, brown people from racist defense attorneys, racist officers. And I used to get called a pig, a traitor. But none of that fazed me, because I knew that I was right where I needed to be to save people from wrongful prosecution. So this one triggers me because I know the reality. I know it. And I also knew I couldn't save everybody, even though I tried. That's the reason why I wrote Shut Up and Prosecute, was because I needed to put people on notice on what goes on in DA's offices. They play politics. They play money. They play to oppress. They prey on your depression. So I had to speak up about this. I had to talk about this. Now, I want to give Breonna the same smoke, but I can't. I can't give her the same smoke because Tyler had the responsibility It was Tyler's responsibility, not hers. He knew it. He knew it. And he could have stopped it, but he didn't. So yes, Brianna, she can be held accountable and responsible. Filing a false police report, false swearing, criminal defamation, if accusations harm someone's reputation, insurance fraud, filing a false claim for monetary gain tied to a wreck, accessory after the fact, if that lie implicates another innocent party. Brianna, federal exposure, mail and wire fraud, anything. If it's an insurance claim, involve electronic or mailed submissions, false statements to an insurance entity, knowingly submitting false information in a claim, conspiracy. If the false report and insurance fraud involved any collision, obstruction of justice. If the lie affected court proceedings. To be here. Kyron deserved to be in the NFL. Kyron deserved for his family to be at his games. Kyron deserved for his little brother to still see his hero. Kyron deserved to be with his girlfriend. Kyron deserved to be with his friends. Kyron deserved to be here. And Tyler took it away. Mental health is real, y'all. If I wouldn't have gotten into therapy as a prosecutor, who knows where I would be? The things that I endure, had to see, like, it is real. People are one day away from taking their life. Kyron did everything right. He did everything right. And as a Black man, it still was not enough. Okay, now I got to get myself together because I got to read somebody. Because Matthew posted a public statement about me. And I'm going to read it. To make it clear that the recent post on the Public Opinion Court suggesting that Kyron Lacy's life was lost because of the actions of the district attorney's office is not only misleading, is deeply offensive, that could be further from the truth. Now, let me correct that really quick. I never made a statement. I didn't come out of my mouth. But even more so, you had no right to post anything pertaining to my business that's not regarding you. But let's keep reading. The DA did not simply accept the charges presented by the state police. Instead, she took a step that many would not have. She conducted her own independent investigation. Whoop-de-fucking-do. That's her fucking job. She don't get no fucking stripe for that. That wasn't mandatory. Oh, so a person, freedom, having a second look is not fucking mandatory? Do you want to continue that fucking narrative when we have so many people that are wrongfully convicted? Is that what you're saying? It's not, it is mandatory. This is exactly the kind of leadership we should expect from our district attorney. A commitment to justice, regardless of external pressures or any narrative being pushed. Thanks to her diligent work, discrepancies within the state police report were uncovered. Discrepancies that could have altered the course of this case. Her decision to independently verify the facts assured that the investigation was thorough, properly handled, something that should be applauded, not attacked. Transparency and impartiality are what build trust in the justice system. And it's unfortunate that the DA, through efforts of being criticized, she has acted with the highest level of integrity and professionalism throughout this entire process. Simply put, it is because of her and her administration. It is because of God. That we now have greater clarity on this case. She promised a swift but thorough investigation to be followed by a grand jury. It shouldn't have never went to the fucking grand jury. What about that do you not understand? You are praising someone that is continuing to perpetuate injustice. It should have never went to the grand jury. I can only imagine how difficult a role must be. Okay, you should. Especially when there are discrepancies between her findings and those of investigative agencies. But she stood firm, meticulously prepared her report, and was ready to present everything to grand jury. The level of dedication should set the standard for how justice is pursued. You gotta be fucking out of your mind. You gotta be fucking out of your mind. So you're telling me, before I introduce you to my letter, hold on, let me drink this damn gum. Before I introduce you to my letter, you got the fucking audacity to say that this should be the fucking standard? An innocent person that still has to go to the grand jury just to coddle a white placement so that they can feel, oh, we did our job. We took it to grand jury. You are harming two families, the victim and an innocent individual. You get no fucking stripes for that. And for you to have the audacity after you saw everything that this boy went through, and you have the fucking nerve to say that? Well, let's talk about it. Since you want to pen letters, let me pen this to you. Since, you sent a letter that I didn't even know, and you tagged and you sent it to the news, let's talk about it. Matthew, what you would never do again is invoke my name in defense of a system I have lived under, prosecuted under, been harmed by, and fought within a Black woman unjust America. See, you get to speak from a place of comfort. I get to speak from a place of survival. You do not carry the weight of being Black in an all white or predominantly white prosecutorial structure where decisions aren't just legal, they're lethal. I don't need you to explain justice to me. I've seen it. I've seen it withheld, delayed, manipulated, and weaponized in ways you have never imagined. So what you did was exactly what whiteness do when it feels uncomfortable. Instead of having a professional conversation to speak to me directly, yeah, you could have spoke to me directly. You ran to the press. Such a white thing to do. You didn't correct any inaccuracies. You tried to correct a Black woman who speak. You weren't seeking the truth. You were seeking approval from people who look like you. That's not leadership. That's a performance. So let me break it down to you in terms of a way that you can understand in your whiteness. When a Black man dies or is charged or is railroaded, we don't see due process. A history of prosecutors using Black bodies as disposable evidence. A history of expedited investigations that only move fast when it protects the system, not the people crushed by it. History of grand juries shielded to bury a Black man. History of white professionals like you defending institutions instead of repairing them. You claim offense at a nonverbal statement while ignoring centuries of oppression that built the very courthouse you now praise. I knew what justice looks like when it was denied, delayed. So let me be very fucking clear. If the district attorney's office had done what it should have, there would have been no rush to arrest, no warrant issued without full data, no charges before evidence, no DA having to investigate a case that should have never been accepted in the first fucking place. And there would never have been a grand jury proceeding date. So you talk about that in your letter. When you're accused, when a Black person is accused, Matt, guess what? They move so fast with cuffs, not caution, like they do with your skin color. No investigation first, no body cam review first, no data first, just a warrant, arrest, and a fucking headline. Because that's the century of the system that was built to keep Black people in mind. White folks using a word like offensive and aggressive when Black people speak the truth, that is very rich. Very fucking rich. See, I didn't call you out your name. You inserted yourself to score points in front of people who benefit from your vision and version of the story. You could have DM'd me. You could have emailed me. It's in my bio. I know you was on my page. You could have spoken to me directly, but you chose to go the public route. Very white and very rich. Because you wanted to frame a narrative about a Black woman to center yourself as the voice of law and order. Y'all so cute. Y'all so cute. So cute. But you failed to understand who you were actually dealing with. So I'm gonna let you know again, remove the public opinion court from your little letter. It don't belong there. You need to retract it. And you need to retract it to those news stations you sent it to and whoever else you sent it to. Because if you don't, we can take it to a place that I love to go. And that's our legal arena. See, I don't answer to comfort. I don't bend to you or your tone. And I damn sure don't silence myself to protect anyone's image. So keep my name out your statements. I didn't come for you. I didn't even send for you. I actually praised you. You can take up for your friends all you want to. You got to see them every day. But as a Black woman who knows the courts better than you and the struggle better than you, you better do what you're supposed to do under the law. Matthew. So, y'all, this was very heavy. I'm not going to spend any more time on it. I thank you all for just being present for the fight, staying in the fight. Everything. And my energy is focused on law enforcement, not Brianna. God is going to handle that. It's been whooping her ass. I'll tell you this. It's been whooping her ass, and she knows it. It's going to be made right. It's going to be made whole. My fight is to make sure that my people know their rights. They have someone that can speak up for them and speak through them, stand on fucking necks behind them, and they are secured in knowing that. Kyron, I'm so sorry that the justice system failed you. I'm so sorry that a system that is designed to protect doesn't protect people that look like us. I knew from the moment that you were innocent. My heart said it. My post said it. God said it. And I pray that your soul is at rest, knowing the truth is out. So instead of ending with anything that is going to make me cry, make sure that you are following all of my pages. Make sure you have liked and subscribed. I put belt to ass on us, and I'm not stopping. My content is going to piss a lot of people off, but I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. If don't give a fuck was a person, it's me. But thank y'all for your support, your encouraging words. I will be doing more content, and I'm going to leave you with a video that I saw of Kyron, and it just blessed my soul so much. And I just pray for his family. I pray for his friends, his loved ones, everyone that is connected to him and through him. And I do preach peace. Rioting or protesting is going to distract our mission and our purpose, and that is to make sure that we remain safe, because they want us to attack, because we can attack, but our attack has to be up here and in the bank. So with that being said, let me go ahead and add and cue up Kyron, and y'all have a great Sunday evening.
Advice you would give to the world?
Don't be
Advice you would give to the world?
Just don't be mean. Just be positive. Don't be negative.